So lithium, a little bit about record production out of Wodgina and Mount Marion, underlying EBITDA, $384 million. We average $1,279 a tonne. If you had told me in 2018 I was going to be selling it for that, I would have packed up and gone on holiday. I mean, that would have been an amazing number. When I started these mines, we were lucky to get $400 a tonne for lithium, so let's not forget that. But we've got used to higher prices, and we put a lot more gear in there and got greedier and tried to get more product. We're paying attention to that. So at Marion, we shipped 218,000 tonnes of SC6 equivalent, FOB costs of $498. We're reducing costs down there. We're improving the feed quality and the plant performance. We're still going to progress the underground. We're about 70 metres down on a vertical basis, so we're putting in a drive down there so we get down to about 350 metres. Why are we doing that? Because we put 3 or 4 drill rods in the ground. We know that we've got 10 million tonnes down there. We probably suspect we've got about 40 or 50 million. What happens, these feeder systems, if you're lucky enough to find them, we've found 2 at Mount Marion, it's a bit like a cyclone. They come up from kilometres down. So we chase this thing down with about 3 or 4 drill rods, about 1.2 Ks, and the geos have said there's 10 million tonnes in that space. We suspect there could be, there will be an awful lot more than that. So we're going to get down there. What it does overall for us is it reduces the overall strip ratio down at Mount Marion. It actually shaves several $1 billion over the life of the mine, 3 or 4 billion, just being down at that face. So you're only bringing out quality ore. You get that with the open cut. You've got a great blend. 20-25% will be underground feed. It doesn't really change the mix of total cost FOB. So you get in there and get that done early. I suspect, look, 5 years down the track, we might be thinking of doing something similar up at Wodgina. What we're doing right now, be clear, I'm pulling the production down at Marion. I'm doing exactly the same at Wodgina. I'm really throttling them back up there. I'm starving the product going in the market. I don't want to oversupply the market. I don't want to waste my ore. And it is the best result in terms of cash out of my bank account over the next 12 months is to do the pullback I'm doing at Mount Marion. We're also, so down there, I'm going to move a dig fleet off site. The dig fleet's a 600-tonne digger and about 9 big dump trucks, 280 tonners, I think they are. People are going off site, yellow goods are going off site. I'm really pulling back on the cash spend down there, but I'm starving product going into the market for obvious reasons. Wodgina is run pretty well up there. We slowed down on the strip up there. We pulled a big dig fleet out of there and a bunch of gear. So the cash going out the door, again, cash is precious, so we've reduced doing that. And we shipped out of there about, what did we put? About 200,000 tonne went out. We're also, as you know, committed to a process with hydroxide with Albemarle. That finished, that expired in June this year, but we were sort of stuck with that and committed to it. We got all that stuff processed up in China. And believe me, I mean, once I got a really clear view of what it's like operating in China, I mean, I wanted out of there as quick as I could get out. The costs are pretty ridiculous. So we're done with that now. I can probably tell you in my time, MinRes will never be a downstream processor of lithium. I mean, we're good at digging it. We're good at converting it to spod, put it on a ship, and that's, in my view, that's about 85% of the value. The ROIC on anything to do with downstream, no matter where you do it, is a waste of time, and it's left to those that want a marginal return, but less than us. So wherever we can, the message is this: what am I going to be doing in 3 months from now? Spending as little as I can on these mines, conserving cash, pulling them back hard. I'm not going to shut them down because there's a lot of development work we've got going on all of these sites, and that development work's important. We're improving recoveries. We're putting in some equipment down there so that we can pull the iron out of the feed going into Mount Marion. That means that we've got more quality feed going in the plant. You get all that stuff out, it takes up less real estate, and we get a better quality product and a better volume of product coming out of the plants. Bald Hill, as I said before, we've owned Bald Hill probably for about 10 months now, so main focus on there on day one was clearing the decks, getting the high gear out, getting all the rorts and the schemes out that had been put in there, and it was pretty ugly. They were operating at high costs. We carved everything out. We've commissioned a new crushing plant down there. It's 100% MinRes owned gear down there. We picked up some very, very good people down at Bald Hill and a great little culture down there, and we've really worked hard to preserve that. Put in a really good team down there, and that little place is running well. We are looking at trying to grow that, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But look, our costs down there for FY2025, we think we're going to be running at around about $560 a tonne coming out of that. But lots of good things. Ironically, Bald Hill has got the best recoveries of any hard rock lithium plant literally in the world. And the reason for that is that it's the type of material down there. It's very coarse grained, and it loves getting separated. So we sit around about 75, 76%, and that's just one pass through the plant. So typically, if you all understand the PLS, that they run dense media to grab the coarse grain out, and then they run flotation. Wodgina, we're 100% flotation. Mount Marion, 100% dense media, and we're going to be adding some flotation down there probably in about a year, 18 months' time. Bald Hill is just dense media. Pretty amazing little plant. It only does about 150,000 tonne a year of product at the moment. So as I said before, we're in a tough market. We're in one of those downturns. It's nothing we need to panic about. You just need to close your eyes and go, we're in a downturn. No one's making money. I mean, we get that. I mean, we just got to wait, because eventually a couple of things need to happen. Our lazy first world car manufacturers in Europe and China, all of the leaders in those companies are making great profits out of combustion engines. They don't want to invest the money and waste their profits on developing the electric vehicle. You have a look at China. China's been working on it for a long, long time. Get a company like BYD. They can go and build a really neat car that you put your kids, your wife and kids in to go to school. I mean, very safe, great cars, low cost. Our Western world friends haven't done that. And just to encourage them and tell them they're doing good, we go, we're going to put some tariff protection on you. I see Canada recently this morning have just come out and said they're going to protect cars going into Canada because they can't make electric cars, and they're going to give all of their car manufacturers a free ticket to keep making combustion engines. It's coming. The world's not going to stop demanding we get carbon out of the atmosphere. The cheapest and quickest way of getting it out is we've got technology that gets it out now. Run electric cars, and the amount of carbon you take out of the atmosphere worldwide is phenomenal. So I think we're probably a couple of years behind where we wanted to be. I think that probably by the time we get up around late 26, early 27, we're going to see a big change in the supply-demand curve. So in the meantime, we'll keep doing what we're doing, reducing costs across both our sites, making changes, getting the quality up, getting improvements on recovery. We're looking at a little desktop at the moment. We think for under about 10 million, we can wind Bald Hill up from about 150 to 200,000 tonnes a year. That does two things. Obviously, we get more revenue, but the other thing it does, it pushes our unit costs down. So we think that we can do that quite cheaply. We think we can probably build a plant. We're going to build a plant in China, haul it over here and glue it in the ground. It's probably 18 months away before we do that, but we think for about 30 million, we can build about a 300,000 tonne plant. So we're pretty much there, but not right now. I've been consolidating, as you know. I'm a strong believer in lithium, where it's one of the things we can dominate in. We're the largest hard rock lithium producer in the world. I want to get bigger on it as the demand comes back on board. In the meantime, what I've done over the last year or so is I've picked up about 2,000 square kilometres of land in what I consider the most prospective land in the world, down in the goldfields. That does not include the strategic shareholdings I've got in the juniors, so it excludes that. Good example of what we got. If you ever look up around Mount Marion, I picked up the goldfields land up there. I did that probably over 6 months ago. We don't advertise that we're doing this, and we don't advertise because we don't want to try and give our competition the heads up on what we're doing, but we've got some really great land down there. We've put some drill rods, only a few drill rods down into right next to Mount Marion in the St Ives ground, and we think we've got a solid 50 million tonnes we've picked up in there. We've got about that same volume up at Bald Hill. Our geos up there think it's another Mount Marion, but again, we're running operations up there at the moment and trying to get the drill rigs in. We are getting them in, but it's taking us a little bit longer than we expected. So we need to get those drill rigs in the ground before we can come out with a reserve and a resource, and then we'll come out with a mine plan on where we're heading. But that's probably, I'm all out a little bit more news at the AGM, but realistically it's going to be during next year. So yeah, working really hard on that consolidation down in the goldfields. As I said earlier, if the price of lithium was, 1,500, 2,000 a tonne, I mean, this would be a different atmosphere this morning, but it's not.